Have you ever heard of a king so powerful, so feared, and yet so entangled in tales of love, rivalry, and even kidnapping? A king whose life reads like an epic blockbuster, filled with drama, strategy, and legendary figures. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Pradyota, the mighty ruler of Avanti, one of the most formidable kingdoms in ancient India. Imagine a time, over 2,500 years ago, around the 6th century BCE. The Great Plains of India were a mosaic of powerful kingdoms, all vying for supremacy. And in the heart of this land, in the prosperous kingdom of Avanti, a new force was rising. This was the era of King Pradyota, a man whose ambition was as vast as his empire. He wasn't just another king. He was a contemporary of two of the most influential figures in human history: Mahavira, the founder of Jainism, and Gautama Buddha. Pradyota, also known as Pradyota Mahasena, which translates to Pradyota the Fierce, ascended the throne of Avanti in 541 BCE. He inherited a strong kingdom, but he was destined to make it legendary. His capital, Ujjaini, known today as Ujjain, was a bustling hub of trade, culture, and military might. From this seat of power, Pradyota's influence spread far and wide. He was known for his formidable army, especially his elite war elephants, which were the talk of the subcontinent. His neighbors trembled at the mere mention of his name. In fact, the Puranas, ancient Hindu texts, mention that all the neighboring kings bowed down to his valor. But what makes his story truly captivating isn't just his military prowess. It's the intricate web of relationships he had with other powerful rulers. His chief rival was the king of Magadha. The rivalry was intense, a constant chess game of power and influence. Yet, when Bimbasora's son, Ajatashatru, rose to power and became an even greater threat, the political landscape shifted dramatically. Legend has it that Ajatashatru was so wary of an invasion from Pradyota that he went to great lengths to fortify his capital, Raja. This speaks volumes about the kind of fear Pradyota commanded. But our king wasn't all war and conquest. He had a softer side, a side that got him tangled in one of the most famous romantic tales of ancient India. Pradyota had a beautiful and talented daughter named Vasu. She was a master of the veena, a classical Indian string instrument. At the same time, in the neighboring kingdom of Vatsa, ruled another charismatic king, Udayana was not only a powerful ruler, but also a musical prodigy, especially renowned for his skill with the veena, and he possessed a magical lute that could tame even wild elephants. Pradyota, seeing Udayana as a potential rival, and perhaps a bit envious of his fame, devised a cunning plan. He wanted to capture Udayana, but knew a frontal attack would be difficult. So, he set a trap. A fade mechanical elephant built, filled it with his best soldiers, and placed it in the forest on the border of their kingdoms. Udayana, hearing of a magnificent elephant roaming the woods, went to capture it with his magical lute, as he usually did. But this time, his music had no effect. As he approached the stationary elephant, Pradyota's soldiers ambushed him and took him prisoner. Udayana was brought to Ujjaini and imprisoned. But Pradyota, avid strategist, saw an opportunity. He knew of his daughter Vasuvadatta's musical talent, and offered Udayana his freedom on one condition. He must teach Vasuvadatta the secrets of his musical art. Udayana agreed, but with a proud condition of his own. He insisted that he would only teach his student if she paid him the respect due to a teacher. Pradyota agreed, but he hid Udayana's true identity from his daughter, telling her that her new teacher was a hunchback dwarf. He also told Udayana that his student was a leper, to ensure they kept a respectful distance. So, the lessons began with a curtain separating the teacher and the student. Udayana would teach from one side, and Vasuvadatta would learn from the other. But talent cannot be hidden. One day Vasuvadatta made a mistake in her playing. Udayana, frustrated, said, "Even a student with a crooked back shouldn't make such a simple mistake." Vasuvadatta, offended, retorted from behind the curtain, "What can one expect from a teacher who is a leper and the servant of my father?" The insults flew, the curtain was torn down in anger, and for the first time, they saw each other. And in that moment of fury and revelation, they fell deeply in love. What followed was a daring escape plan. With the help of Udayana's loyal minister, Yogandarayana, the two lovers plotted to flee Ujjain. They eloped on a swift female elephant named Bodravati, with Pradyota's guards in hot pursuit. It was a chase for the ages, a story of love against all odds that has been immortalized in Indian literature, most famously in the plays Fabnafasafadatam by the great poet Basa. Though he had lost his daughter, some stories say Pradyota eventually came to accept their union, turning a bitter rivalry into a powerful alliance. Beyond these epic tales, Pradyota was also connected to the great spiritual movements of his time. The Buddhist texts tell a fascinating story about him. Later in his life, around 484 BCE, Pradyota fell seriously ill with jaundice. His revolting Dala, King Bimbisara, sent his own royal physician, the legendary Javaka, to treat him. Javaka was a student of the famous university at Taxila, and was considered the greatest doctor of his era. However, Pradyota had a known aversion to ghee, or clarified butter, which was a key ingredient in the medicine Javaka needed to administer. Knowing the king's stubbornness, Javaka devised a clever plan. He prepared the medicine with ghee, but boiled it with some bitter herbs to disguise the taste and smell. Before giving it to the king, Javaka made a request. He said he needed to leave urgently to gather more herbs, and asked for the king's fastest elephant to make a quick getaway. Pradyota, suspecting nothing, granted his request. Javaka gave the king the medicine and immediately fled Jujujini on the elephant. As expected, once the medicine took effect, Pradyota tasted the ghee and flew into a rage. He felt tricked and ordered his men to chase Javaka and bring him back for punishment. But Javaka had a significant head start and had already crossed the border out of Avanti. The king, despite his anger, soon recovered from his illness. He realized Javaka had saved his life, and his anger turned to admiration. He even sent precious gifts to Javaka as a token of his gratitude. This story shows a different side of Pradyota, a man who, despite his fierce nature, could recognize and appreciate skill and even forgive being tricked for his own good. It also highlights the interconnectedness of these ancient kingdoms, where even bitter rivals could share resources like a brilliant physician in a time of need. Pradyota's reign lasted for 23 years. Ending with his death in 518 BCE, he left behind a powerful legacy and a kingdom that was a major player on the Indian subcontinent. His dynasty, the Pradyota Dynasty, continued to rule Avanti for several more generations before it was eventually conquered by the expanding Magadhan Empire under Shivers. But the stories of Pradyota, the fierce king, the cunning strategist, the protective father, and the reluctant patient, have endured. His life was a microcosm of his era, an age of great kings, profound spiritual awakening, epic romances, and legendary rivalries. From his military campaigns that made kings tremble to the romantic elopement of his daughter and the clever physician who outsmarted him, Pradyota's story is a testament to the vibrant and complex world of ancient India. He was more than just a name in a kingdom. He was a living, breathing character whose actions shaped the course of history and whose tales continue to fascinate us to this day. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more amazing tales from history. Let us know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see next.